Hey everyone, welcome to the Happy Flosser podcast. If you are in dental hygiene school, I'm so glad you found this podcast. I am here to support you on your journey from the beginning of hygiene school, getting in, all the way through the program till you finish up and way beyond that. Today's episode, if you are in dental hygiene school and money feels tight, you are not alone. We're going to talk about that, right? Think about everything you have to consider: tuition, supplies, gas, scrubs, food, and lost work hours. These types of things create a lot of pressure for you. So today I am going to give you practical, doable ways for you to stretch every dollar and protect your mental capacity so that you can stay focused on school. You do not need perfection. You just need a plan that really supports your brain and your budget. And it's really a bunch of different things. You can be really good with money and still end up in a lot of mental stress during dental hygiene school. So no judgment here, guys. I am speaking from experience myself as a dental hygiene student for the simple reason that one of the first things that your faculty tell you when you start dental hygiene school is that you have to reduce how much you're working because you can't do all things. You can't maintain a full-time job and successfully do dental hygiene school. It's almost mentally and physically impossible to do. And just simply reducing your work hours, that's a easy math. That means less income. That means less hours, less income at the very same time that you have increased expenses, right? You've got instruments and uniforms and textbooks, and you know that you have to save for board exams. And then you have like this high cognitive load going on where all of your focus is in school. And so you just don't have the mental bandwidth to do a budget. Maybe you're good at budgeting and then you get into hygiene school and that's one of those things that kind of fall off the wagon, I guess. And then when you add in the emotional load, right? And we talk about this on my podcast. We talk about comparison, we talk about imposter syndrome, we talk about guilt, self-doubt, falling behind. All of those things actually create an environment where we make bad financial decisions. So financial stress, when you put that on top of the pile, that actually can be the leading cause of losing your focus. When your brain it's that Maslow's hierarchy of need, right, guys? It's that if you don't have food, clothing, and shelter, how are you supposed to, how's your brain supposed to focus on schoolwork when you're barely hanging on? So depending on your financial situation, I'm really hoping that some of these things will will kind of help at least set you on the right track, okay? Because I find that if I have clarity, if I have like a plan, that in and of itself will reduce my mental stress a little bit. So I'm really hoping that helps you guys. And I know that the resources are limited. I totally get it. I totally get it. My husband and I used to share if we got a coffee out and about on our way to school, we would share one. So I liked my coffee with cream and sugar, and he liked his coffee with just cream. And we found like a happy medium. Like he didn't like much cream. So together we both compromised so that we could share a coffee and save money whenever we were like splurging on a coffee. So like there's all these little things. And so what I want you guys to realize is that this is temporary. This is part of your plan, part of your strong why, part of your reasoning, but know that this is a temporary situation. But some of the things that I'm going to share are permanent habits that will set you up for financial freedom in the not too distant future. All right. So here's three categories, three buckets for you to put like all of your things. And for some of you might want to actually write this down on a piece of paper and separate it out. What are your non-negotiables, your must-haves? You have to buy gas to get to and from school. That's a must-have, right? And then there's that list of things that the faculty tell you you have to have for clinic, and they tell you about your books. Now, some books you can get used, right? And some things are in on reserve in the library, so you don't necessarily have to buy them. So look for ways to be very frugal in those areas. but your must-haves and your school essentials are kind of at the forefront of all the decisions that you have to make in and around that. Those two buckets, whatever the cost is of those two things, that is going to dictate how much you have to work. What is it going to cost for me to reach my goal and graduate? Those are the things I want you to be thinking about. And then you need a little bit of flex money, not a lot, just enough that keeps you sane, right? What is something really small that's cost effective that brings you joy when you're really stressed out? All right. Those are like ways that you can figure out the predictable spending for yourself for each semester. And that may be different for each semester. Usually your program will tell you what the costs are because there's a lot of hidden costs I found in school. I remember when I started, I remember going the first week and the teachers were like, oh, you need to go buy these socks, this clipboard, this type of pen, these papers, like folders for your binder, this, that, and the other. And it was like, a lot of money for me to go to the store and get this list of 15 items so that I was ready for clinic. So really make sure that you have all of that dialed in and ask good questions so that you have as much information as you can possibly have for this stuff, right? Okay. I will tell you guys, automatic payments are essential, right? You want to make sure that you have automatic payments for all of your essentials. So your weekly money check-in, right? It takes 5 minutes for you to do this. Keep all your school receipts in one folder for tax season. That's going to help keep you organized. So it's like these little habits that you do every day will stack up at the end of the year to keep you sane, to keep your life more organized and kind of give you a little more mental space. You'll feel like you have a little more control over things because when you protect your mental space, it's going to reduce those decision fatigue moments, right? When we maybe sometimes don't make the best decisions because we're depleted, right? So in those moments when you know it's a high stakes, maybe it's midterms and you like fall off the wagon and you go out to eat and you order pizza at midnight or whatever, okay? When you have templates, routines, and defaults, you're less apt to make those bad decisions. And here's the thing, if you it's like set it and forget it. The less you think about money on the daily, the more you can think about school. So once you have everything in your three buckets, you've got your essentials, and then you've got your school essentials and your must-haves like gas, your car, things to keep your car running. Once all of those things are calculated, then put everything else on automatic so that you don't have to stress about it, right? Because that's going to give you a little more flexibility for thinking about schools. So here's a couple things that, and we could probably argue and discuss about this for a long, long time. I want you guys to be thinking about meal prepping, 2 to 3 simple meals a week. Maybe you cook dinner and you just make a little extra and that's your next day lunch. Or maybe you pack some snacks. Always have a granola bar handy. I know that I carry granola bars in my office and snacks. I have like small bags of chips for students. They'll come down to my office stressed out. They just need a snack and I'll give them that snack. But try to pack snacks for your clinic days because clinic days are long and that's going to keep you from making bad money decisions when you're hungry, when you first come out of clinic. So, fill up your water bottle, get yourself in a routine where you leave your house with a full water bottle and a couple of snacks in your backpack. Because if you can do that and meal prep a couple simple meals every week, that is going to reduce that temptation to go outside your budget zone. And the other thing you want to do, just like setting everything on autopilot, you could pick 5 of your favorite default meals that are easy to avoid like decision fatigue. I have to say, like, one of the worst questions I hear from my kids is, what's for dinner? And to be honest with you, that doesn't get easier in time. It's actually worse when you're in school. You just don't care. You're just hungry. You just know you're hungry and you have your 5 favorite things and you're just going to go to Panera or spend money unnecessarily because you have that decision fatigue. And the other thing, I just want to stretch you out a little bit and think about, do I really need store brand everything? Do I really need? And I can tell by being a faculty in dental hygiene school, a lot of students spend money unnecessarily on Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, and those like drive-through places on their way to and from school. And these are just habits. These are the things that we do. And sometimes we do it on autopilot. We build a habit and then we just have it built in. That money adds up so fast over time, especially when you have reduced your work, right? So I tell a student, I would rather see you go without that coffee and have that extra hour to study, right? Have that extra time. So find ways and look at it as a challenge, not as like like you're depriving yourself of anything. Look at it as like something that you're challenging yourself to do. This is all part of the process to get you where you want to go. There's some other real easy things that you can do, like buying used textbook, split your study resources with your classmates. If you can, get yourself together with your cohort and there's something that's a little more expensive and you buy it and someone else buy it, like, and you can kind of, if you guys always study together and each of you has these one big things that you can share, I think that's a huge win for all the students when you can kind of collaborate on sharing some of those big ticket items. That goes a long way. And I would say borrowing. We have our students buy a typodont stand and they're pretty pricey. So I have worked on getting students to donate those, students that would like to donate those to the program, so I can just put them on reserve in the library so future students do not need to make that big purchase. So find out what resources are in the library for you already so that you don't have to go and purchase every single thing. Doing that legwork up front to say, I wonder what the faculty have put on reserve in the library that maybe I could just spend an hour or two at the library every week instead of purchasing this stuff to have it at home. Try to like look into those types of things. And if you're digital, right? And sometimes a digital planner might go a long way where you can reset it every year instead of having like multiple notebooks. That stuff adds up quick over time. And what's so crazy about what I have learned about finances is that it's the little purchases. It's the little decisions that you make every single day that add up to the big results. And I can speak from my own experience, guys, that these things do matter. And if you can put yourself a little challenge and a goal together, write it down on paper, you can really stick to holding true to yourself on these decisions that you make every day. If you live near one of your friends and you guys are commuters, carpool together and split the cost of the gas. Plan your errands on one day so that you're not spending as much on gas. Just think about mindful little decisions that you can make that can really move the needle for you. And I will tell you, if you could use your locker and keep like those clinic essentials to avoid yourself from doing a last minute purchase so that you're prepared for a clinic, that's going to go a long way. You don't want to have to go stop and grab a pair of socks and buy socks when you have 15 pairs of socks at home. This is another thing that I like to keep in my office is extra things like that for students, knowing that if I can help them avoid spending money unnecessarily, if they, if this stress, sometimes it's stressful leaving your house and you'll leave your house without everything. I totally get that. But these are some like additional expenses that add up over time. So find out how your school is supporting you when things like that go wrong. And the other thing I would do as a cohort is make a locker caddy that has all of those essentials. As a cohort, you guys can all borrow and contribute to that. And that will go a long way at helping you as a cohort reach your financial goals while you're in school. All right, scrubs. I see a lot of students like buying new scrubs, like each semester buying new scrubs. I would say at our school, we have very high quality scrubs. They tend to last a lot the whole time the students are in the program. I can't speak to any other program, but I would say wash your scrubs midweek instead of buying more scrubs. I know that that sounds like, oh my gosh, that's one more thing I have to do. But you could even do a speed wash for 15 minutes, guys. That's what I will say. And use a student discount. Ask if you are going to order some online, call the company and find out, number one, if they offer a student discount or if multiple people buy a set, if you get a discount that way, because sometimes that can be a huge savings. All right. And the other thing about so when it comes to finances, I got to tell you, so sometimes it's our mental health. Like we're either going to have the time or the money. So there's like the three parts of the triangle for life. It's time, money, and ambition. And getting all three of those things to align together is really hard. So sometimes you have the time, but you don't have the money. And other times you have the ambition, but you don't have the time. And then sometimes you have the money and you don't have the ambition. So I have to tell you that sometimes getting all three of those things lined up can be incredibly struggle challenge, right? Budget $5 to $10 a week for something that just makes you feel human, right? A small joy is cheaper than burnout, but if you budget it and you plan for it, then you're not breaking your own rule on your budget. So I'll do like a $5 to $10 sweet treat of a lavender matcha latte at Starbucks. And I don't always get one, but when I do get one, I don't make myself feel bad about it. And I will allow myself to, know that that is a reward for myself. I budgeted it in and I'm only allowing myself a certain number of them. I will not turn it into a habit. It's literally like a sweet treat when I feel like I need one. And that would be something that I would say works really well when you don't turn it into a habit, but you have that budget and you have that flexibility that if you have like a high stress day, you can give yourself that reward. So a focused budget, right? This really helps your mental stress. A simple plan, it protects your mental energy by limiting your money decisions. You're not making so many choices and decisions every day. So if you just put the work in up front, just like planning for your semester, planning for your patients, planning for, your projects, all of these things. You choose your weekly spending limit, you pre-decide where it goes, you stick to the plan so your brain doesn't like spiral out of control. And you can track your three things. What did you spend? What did you save? But also, here's another thing. You can track what did you avoid buying to show your progress, to show your commitment to owning your decisions and being in control of your money. And the reason why this works is because it reduces anxiety. Knowing when you avoided things that you buy, that actually builds your confidence and it keeps your brain focused on school and it keeps you focused on being in control and not letting that money dictate, am I going to be able to come back next semester? There are students that literally have to pause because they can't get their money habits under control, which really breaks my heart. And this is some of the reason why I'm motivated to share this information. It's not always easy to talk about finances, to talk about money. But here's some of the common mistakes that I see students make. They try to budget like they have a full-time income. You have to let some things go. And the other thing is, I know I sell resources, but buying every single resource is also not a good plan. Figure out the areas that you need the most support and choose those resources, the things that are really going to move the needle. The other thing is not planning. That's a common mistake. You have to plan for your board exams. And I will tell you guys, this is just like anything else. If you save $5 a week the whole time you're in school, you will have enough money by the end of the program to take your board exam. Yeah, $5 a week from when you start your prerequisites, just stay committed, put it in a little envelope and you can go for it. I did this challenge one year. If you did like $1 on the first week and $2 on the second week and $3 on the third week and $4 on the fourth week and so and so and so and so. When you get all the way to the end of the year, you'll have like $1,350, something like that. I did that challenge with a group that I worked with one year and it was really fun. And I took that money and I bought myself a Thule rack for the top of my car, which they're expensive, but it wasn't part of my budget money. I just did this as like a little challenge, and I would invite you to do the very same thing, right? Calculate how you need to plan to save for board exams. And sometimes students, they know that the board exam is there, they know that it's expensive, they know exactly how much it costs. Break it down into little tiny bite-sized pieces. That will really help you. And then don't do any guilt-driven spending, right? Just let it go. Say, nope, not until I graduate. Not until I graduate. I can't do that right now. And the other thing is there's always going to be students in your class that make poor financial decisions. That look at that as a lesson that you can learn now, because when you get out in the field, you're going to see hygienists that bring their lifestyle right up to their income, and they're still challenged with making good financial decisions even after they're making a lot more money. So use this as the learning opportunity while you're in school. What is the challenge for me? The challenge is finding out if I can handle money when it's scarce, because you will be rewarded when it's not scarce if you can be disciplined when it is. All right. You will build that financial resilience that you need to build, right? You'll become resourceful instead of broke. And this is a way for you to really prioritize your future. Really stretching your dollar is such a great skill to learn. People look at it as a negative thing. I'm telling you, it will serve you your entire career. As Dave Ramsey says, the borrower is slave to the lender, and you don't want to be slave to anything. And honestly, your worth is not measured, contrary to what society portrays. Your worth is not measured by how much you could spend. Think about living and giving like more than anyone else. Like if you have the ability to just generously give to things that you are passionate about, that really speaks to your discipline that I'm talking about right here. So you're really not learning to manage money under pressure. It's really like a strength, a financial muscle that you are flexing. And I'm telling you, the more calm your finances are, the more clear you'll be when you're trying to focus on your academics, right? The less stress you have in all areas of your life, the better your focus. And the better your focus, the better your grades, the better your clinic performance, right? So I know, guys, that you're doing the best you can with what you have. And that's really enough. And honestly, your journey matters to me. Your future is worth this effort. And some of the little financial savvy decisions that you can learn to make while you're in school are really going to go a long way for you as you move forward and you learn to figure out how to manage the bigger income that's coming once you graduate. Okay. Now, I do have a financial calm worksheet and a student budget template. If you'd like to download that, that's right in the show notes for you. Guys, I'm here to help you, and I want you to know that I appreciate you listening. I'm here for you. Dental hygiene school is so worth it. It is going to transform you in so many ways. And if I have my way, I will transform your finances as well. All right. Have a great week.